Think grocery stores are all about convenience, safety, and reliability? Think again. Beneath the polished aisles and flashy sales signs lies a web of hidden tactics designed to manipulate your shopping experience. From questionable expiration dates and mislabeled products to food fraud and supply chain tricks, these behind-the-scenes practices quietly impact what you pay, the quality you get, and even what's available on the shelves. And it doesn't stop there. Corporate giants are squeezing out smaller producers, creating monopolies that control the market. With rising prices and supply shortages hitting hard, it's time to uncover the truth about how fragile and manipulated this system really is. Get ready, because we're exposing 7 dark secrets grocery stores don't want you to know. Stay tuned. This could change the way you shop forever. 1. The deceptive dance of digital discounts. It's a familiar scenario. You walk down the aisle, spot a bright yellow tag advertising a can't-miss sale, and toss the item into your cart, satisfied with your savvy shopping. But how often do you scrutinize your receipt at the end of the trip? A disturbing pattern uncovered in major grocery chains reveals that the price on the shelf and the price at the register often don't match. This isn't a rare glitch in the system. It's a widespread issue where outdated or intentionally misleading price tags linger long after a promotion has expired. Shoppers, believing they are getting a deal, end up paying full price without ever realizing it. At a time when every dollar counts, these seemingly small overcharges accumulate into a significant drain on household budgets. This practice represents more than simple oversight. Reports have surfaced suggesting that in some stores, employees were instructed to leave old sale tags in place, sometimes for weeks, until new stock arrived or until a corporate reset was scheduled. This deliberate delay creates a sustained period of false advertising. While you think you're saving a few cents or dollars on an item, the store is quietly padding its bottom line. Multiplied across thousands of transactions each day in a single store, and then across a nationwide chain, the profits generated from this checkout inflation are staggering. It's a strategy that preys on consumer trust and the fast-paced nature of shopping. Most people are in a hurry and won't double-check every single item on a long receipt, allowing these discrepancies to go unnoticed and unchallenged. For those preparing for emergencies or trying to build a stockpile, this hidden price manipulation is particularly damaging. Your budget for long-term supplies is carefully calculated, but these phantom charges can throw your plans into disarray, forcing you to either spend more than intended or reduce the quantity of goods you can purchase. The system is designed to work against the vigilant consumer, turning the simple act of grocery shopping into a game where the house almost always wins. This isn't just about sloppy management. It's a calculated tactic that leverages human psychology and trust to extract extra revenue. The darkness of this secret lies in its subtlety and its scale, quietly siphoning money from millions of families who are just trying to put food on the table. 2. The great food switch. What's really in your cart? Beyond pricing games, an even more insidious secret lurks within the products themselves: food fraud. This isn't just about a single bad apple. It's a global issue affecting a significant portion of the food industry. Food fraud encompasses a range of deceptive practices where suppliers or producers intentionally mislead consumers for financial gain. This can involve diluting valuable liquids like olive oil or honey with cheaper fillers such as corn syrup or other oils, substituting premium ingredients with lower quality alternatives, or mislabeling a product's origin to command a higher price. You might think you're buying authentic Italian olive oil or organic spices, but what you're actually getting could be a cheap imitation bulked up with undisclosed additives. Investigations have exposed some shocking examples. Seafood is a common target where a cheaper fish is sold under the name of a more expensive variety. Ground spices are frequently found to contain fillers like flour, starch, or even brick dust to add weight and reduce costs. The problem is magnified by today's complex global supply chains. An ingredient might be grown in one country, processed in a second, and packaged in a third, with each step presenting an opportunity for fraud. This tangled web makes it nearly impossible for consumers, and sometimes even retailers, to trace a product back to its true source. Vague labeling like product of multiple countries is often a red flag, masking a convoluted journey that hides the truth. The consequences of food fraud extend far beyond financial loss. When unknown fillers are introduced into the food supply, they can bring with them hidden allergens or contaminants, posing serious health risks. For someone with a severe allergy, a product contaminated with an undeclared ingredient can be life-threatening. Furthermore, for those focused on preparedness, the nutritional integrity of your stockpile is paramount. If your emergency food supplies are nutritionally weaker or less pure than you believe, they may not provide the sustenance your family needs in a crisis. As global food prices rise and shortages become more common, the incentive for this kind of deception only grows stronger, undermining the very trust we place in the food on our shelves. 3. The spice rack conspiracy, a tale of fillers and fakes. The spice trade is one of the oldest and most storied markets in human history, yet it remains shrouded in deception. When you reach for a jar of paprika, oregano, or turmeric at the grocery store, you expect the pure, aromatic product promised on the label. However, extensive testing reveals a much different reality. Many common ground spices are adulterated with fillers to increase volume and cut costs for producers. These undeclared additives can range from harmless substances like rice flour and starch to sawdust and powdered leaves from entirely different plants. The vibrant color of your turmeric might not come from the root itself but from industrial dyes, some of which have been found to contain lead. This widespread fraud is facilitated by the opaque nature of the spice supply chain. A spice might be harvested in a remote village, sold to a local aggregator, shipped to a processor in another country for grinding and blending, and finally packaged under a familiar store brand. At every transfer point, there's a chance for low-quality material to be mixed in. The final label rarely offers transparency, often listing a generic country of origin or none at all. This lack of traceability is not an accident. It's a feature of the system that allows these deceptive practices to flourish. High-demand spices that are expensive to source in their pure form, like saffron and vanilla, are especially prone to being diluted or replaced with synthetic substitutes. For the average consumer, this means you're not getting the flavor or health benefits you paid for. The antioxidant properties of oregano or the anti-inflammatory effects of turmeric are significantly diminished when the product is mostly filler. For those building a food stockpile for an uncertain future, this issue is far more critical. Spices are essential for preserving food, adding flavor to monotonous meals, and providing medicinal benefits. Relying on a supply of adulterated spices in an emergency means your food could spoil faster, your meals will be less palatable, and you'll be missing out on key nutritional and healing properties. This shadow economy within the spice trade turns a pantry staple into a potential liability, making it one of the most pervasive and concerning secrets in the modern grocery store. 4. Annual. The meat expiration shell game. When you pick up a package of fresh meat, the date sticker is often the first thing you check. It's your primary indicator of freshness and safety. But what if that date isn't telling you the whole story? Investigations into supermarket practices have revealed a troubling secret. The date printed on many meat packages is not when the animal was processed, but when the package was put on the sales floor. This subtle but significant difference creates a false sense of freshness, leading you to believe the meat is much newer than it actually is. In reality, that cut of beef or chicken may have been sitting in a backroom cooler for several days before it was ever displayed for sale. This practice exploits a loophole in food labeling regulations, which can be vague about what the sell-by or use-by date truly represents, allowing retailers to present older inventory as fresh. The deception runs even deeper. Ground meat is particularly susceptible to this manipulation. Large quantities are often processed centrally, stored in bulk for days, and only then packaged and labeled with a fresh date as they are placed in the display case. This means the clock on its shelf life started ticking long before you ever saw it. Furthermore, some reports have detailed how employees are sometimes instructed to recondition meat that is starting to show its age. This can involve trimming off discolored edges, repackaging the remaining portion in new plastic wrap, and slapping on a brand new date sticker. While the meat might still be technically safe to eat for a short period, this practice is fundamentally dishonest. It tricks consumers into buying a product that is already nearing the end of its viability, compromising both quality and flavor. For those who are consciously stocking up, especially for emergency preparedness, this hidden timeline is a critical vulnerability. When you buy meat to freeze for long-term storage, you do so under the assumption that it is fresh. If the product was already several days old when you bought it, its freezer life will be significantly shorter than you anticipate. You might find that your carefully stored supplies spoil much faster than expected, leaving you with less than you planned for in a time of need. As supply chains become more strained, the temptation for stores to stretch their inventory by masking the true age of their meat only increases. This quiet manipulation of dates isn't just a matter of quality. It's a practice that undermines your ability to prepare and erodes trust in the safety of the food system. 5. The phantom inventory haunting the shelves. There's a frustratingly common experience for any shopper. You check the store's app or website, see that an essential item is in stock, and drive there only to find an empty shelf. This isn't just bad luck, it's a symptom of a massive behind-the-scenes problem known as inventory record inaccuracy, or phantom inventory. The digital systems that grocery stores use to track their products are often riddled with errors. On paper, the computer shows a healthy stock of canned goods, pasta, or bottled water, but in the real world, those items are nowhere to be found. These discrepancies arise from a multitude of small failures that cascade into a major issue: items missed during checkout scanning, products misplaced in a sprawling backroom, unreported damage, or even theft. The system simply doesn't know the items are gone. While a few percentage points of error might not sound alarming, when you apply it to the tens of thousands of individual products in a modern supermarket, the gap between the digital record and physical reality becomes a chasm. This means the store's automated reordering system fails to trigger a new shipment because it falsely believes there's still plenty of stock on hand. The result is a delay in restocking that leads directly to the empty shelves that greet customers. For families trying to maintain a household, this creates unnecessary frustration and wasted time. But during a regional emergency or a widespread supply chain disruption, the consequences become much more severe. Inaccurate data hobbles a store's ability to respond efficiently, compounding shortages and preventing critical supplies from reaching the community when they are needed most. Retailers are aware of this problem, but many downplay its severity. Acknowledging the full extent of their inventory failures would expose a significant weakness in their operational logistics and potentially damage investor confidence. While some are experimenting with advanced solutions like AI-driven analytics and blockchain to achieve better tracking, these technologies are expensive and their adoption is slow and inconsistent across the industry. For anyone focused on preparedness, the lesson is stark. You cannot rely on a store's digital promise of availability. The information you see online or in an app may be based on faulty data. The only truth is what you can physically see on the shelf, and even that can disappear in an instant. This ghost in the machine is a silent saboteur of supply chain stability. 6. The mystery box on the shelf. In your search for the best value, you've likely come across products with generic, unassuming packaging. Labeled simply as pantry essentials, value pack, or with a store's own private brand, these items promise savings on staples like flour, rice, sugar, and cooking oil. What they don't promise, however, is transparency. This growing trend of opaque selling allows retailers to bundle products from various suppliers, offload surplus stock, and navigate supply chain hiccups without alarming consumers. You might think you're buying the same bag of rice you bought last month, but the contents could be from an entirely different country, of a different quality, and processed under different standards. The label provides no clues, and the source can change from one week to the next based on whatever is cheapest or most available for the retailer. This practice is a strategic move by grocery chains to maximize flexibility and profit. It allows them to absorb inventory from a supplier who needs to get rid of it quickly, or to repackage items that are approaching their expiration date under a different non-branded label. By stripping away the original brand identity, the store erases the product's history. It's an effective way to reduce waste and protect margins, but it comes at the cost of consumer knowledge. You lose the ability to make an informed choice based on brand reputation, origin, or consistent quality. You're essentially buying a mystery box, trusting that the contents are what you expect them to be. This lack of transparency makes it impossible to perform a true price comparison, or to stick with a product you know and trust. As global supply chains continue to face pressure from shortages and inflation, these opaque selling schemes are likely to become even more prevalent. It's an easy way for retailers to mask inconsistencies and maintain the appearance of full shelves, even when their usual supply lines are disrupted. For the prepared citizen, this poses a significant risk. The nutritional content, purity, and shelf life of these generically packaged goods can be highly variable. A bag of value flour might have a lower protein content, and a bottle of generic oil could be a blend of lower quality sources. Building a reliable long-term food supply becomes a gamble when you can't be certain of the quality or consistency of the products you are storing. This deliberate ambiguity is a dark secret that trades your right to know for the store's operational convenience. 7. The corporate giants tightening their grip. The grocery aisles may seem filled with endless choices, but the reality is that the number of companies controlling what you buy is shrinking at an alarming rate. The food retail industry is in the midst of massive consolidation, with corporate behemoths acquiring their competitors to create mega chains that dominate the market. A prime example is the proposed merger of Kroger and Albertsons, two of America's largest supermarket operators. A deal of this magnitude would drastically reduce competition in countless towns and cities, leaving consumers with fewer places to shop. When a handful of powerful corporations control the grocery landscape, they gain immense leverage over the entire food supply chain, from the farm to your dinner table. This concentration of power is a threat to both price stability and food security. This wave of consolidation puts immense pressure on smaller independent farmers and food producers. Giant retail chains can dictate terms, demanding lower prices for agricultural products while simultaneously raising prices for the end consumer. This squeeze crushes the profit margins of farmers and makes it nearly impossible for smaller independent brands to compete for shelf space. The result is a decline in product diversity. The unique locally produced items that once offered a real alternative are pushed aside in favor of the corporation's own private label brands, which are cheaper to produce and more profitable for the store. This creates a monotonous and controlled food environment, where the illusion of choice masks the reality of a monopoly. For consumers, the most immediate impact is often higher prices, especially in food deserts, where one consolidated chain may be the only option for miles, but the danger extends far beyond your grocery bill. With control over vast distribution networks, these corporate giants can decide which regions and which stores get resupplied first during a crisis. In a widespread shortage, they have the power to prioritize affluent neighborhoods over less profitable ones, creating localized food emergencies even when national supplies are technically stable. This ability to manipulate availability is a terrifying prospect for anyone trying to ensure their family's well-being. The steady march toward corporate oligopoly is concentrating the power over our nation's food supply into fewer and fewer hands, creating a system that is more brittle, less transparent, and increasingly vulnerable to collapse. 8. The shrinkflation deception. Paying more for less. You've probably felt it even if you couldn't quite put your finger on it. That bag of chips seems a little lighter, the box of cereal isn't as full as it used to be, and your favorite ice cream container has a new, deeper dimple on the bottom. This isn't your imagination. It's a deliberate and sneaky tactic known as shrinkflation. Instead of raising the sticker price, which can cause consumer backlash, companies quietly reduce the quantity of the product inside the package. The box, bag, or bottle often remains the same size, creating an illusion that you're buying the same amount as always. This practice is a masterful piece of psychological manipulation, designed to make you feel like prices are stable while your wallet is being drained by 1,000 tiny cuts. It's a way for corporations to pass on their rising costs for ingredients, shipping, and labor directly to you, without the transparency of an honest price hike. This hidden downsizing is happening across almost every aisle of the grocery store, from toilet paper rolls that have fewer sheets to bottles of juice with less liquid. The changes are subtle but pervasive. A standard 16-ounce package might become 14.5 ounces, or a bar of soap might shrink by half an ounce. These minor adjustments are carefully calculated to fly under the radar of the average shopper. Most people don't memorize the net weight of every product they buy, so they don't notice the gradual reduction over time. Companies often introduce these changes alongside a new and improved packaging design to distract from the decreased volume. The result is that you are effectively paying more per unit, more per ounce, more per sheet, more per gram, without ever seeing the price on the shelf change. It's an insidious form of inflation that erodes your purchasing power from within. For those dedicated to building a resilient household and stocking up for emergencies, shrinkflation presents a serious and compounding problem. Your calculations for long-term food and supply storage are based on standard package sizes. When those sizes shrink without notice, your entire stockpile could be short by a significant margin. A case of canned goods might contain 10–15% less food than it did a year ago, meaning your 3-month supply is actually closer to a 10-week supply. This forces you to spend more money just to maintain the same level of preparedness you once had. Shrinkflation isn't just a clever marketing trick, it's a systemic erosion of value that directly impacts your ability to plan for the future. It's a dark secret that proves the system is designed to give you less while making you believe you're getting the same deal, weakening your preparedness efforts one shrunken package at a time. 9. The aisle maze. Engineering your every move. Have you ever walked into a grocery store for a gallon of milk and walked out with a cart full of items you never intended to buy? This is not a failure of your willpower. It is the result of a meticulously engineered environment designed to maximize your spending. The very layout of a supermarket is a psychological trap. Essential items like milk, eggs, and bread are almost always placed at the back of the store or in distant corners. This forces you to walk through the entire length of the building, past thousands of other products, just to get to the basics. Along this forced journey, you are exposed to a carefully orchestrated gauntlet of temptations. End caps, the displays at the end of aisles, are premium real estate sold to brands for promoting high-margin items, impulse buys, and so-called deals that you weren't looking for. This deliberate store design extends to every detail of your shopping experience. The most expensive brands are typically placed at eye level, where you are most likely to see them and grab them without thinking. Cheaper store brands and bulk items are often located on the highest or lowest shelves, requiring you to stretch or crouch to get a better value. The flow of traffic is also managed to slow you down. Aisles can be intentionally cluttered with displays to create bottlenecks, forcing you to linger longer in certain areas. Even the music playing overhead is selected to create a relaxed, unhurried mood, encouraging you to browse longer and, consequently, spend more. The fresh produce section, usually located at the entrance, is designed to create an impression of health and freshness that puts you in a positive, less critical state of mind for the rest of your shopping trip. This psychological manipulation is a direct threat to anyone trying to shop strategically, especially those on a tight budget or with a specific preparedness goal. The store's layout is actively working against your shopping list. The goal is to trigger impulse purchases and steer you toward more profitable items, undermining your carefully planned budget. For preppers, this means that a quick trip for specific stocking up items can easily get derailed, diverting funds from essential long-term supplies to short-term wants. The entire grocery store is a battlefield for your attention and your dollars, and the floor plan is the map that leads you directly into the line of fire. Understanding that you are walking through a carefully constructed maze designed to control your behavior is the first step toward breaking free from its influence and sticking to your mission. 10. Maintenance, the data shadow, how your loyalty card betrays you. That loyalty card in your wallet might save you a few dollars on your grocery bill, but it comes at a hidden cost: your privacy. Every time you scan your card at the checkout, you are handing over a treasure trove of personal data to the supermarket. The store isn't just tracking what you buy, it's building a detailed profile of your life. It knows if you have children based on your diaper and formula purchases, it can infer your health status from your pharmacy refills or gluten-free food choices, and it knows your income level based on your preference for premium brands versus budget items. This data is far more valuable to the corporation than the discount it gives you. It allows the store to engage in highly targeted and sometimes predatory marketing. This massive collection of data is used to influence your future purchasing decisions in ways you may not even realize. The personalized coupons that print with your receipt or get sent to your email are not random. They are precision-guided tools designed to shape your behavior. If you stop buying a particular brand, you might suddenly receive a coupon for it to lure you back. The store can also use your data to test price elasticity, subtly raising prices on items you buy regularly to see how much more you're willing to pay before you switch. In essence, your loyalty card turns you into a subject in a constant large-scale marketing experiment. This information can also be sold to third-party data brokers, who then combine it with other information: your credit score, your online browsing history, your social media activity, to create an even more comprehensive and invasive profile of you and your family. For anyone concerned with privacy and operational security, this data gathering is a deeply disturbing secret. In an unstable world, having a detailed record of your food consumption, health needs, and purchasing patterns held by a corporation is a significant liability. This data could potentially be breached by hackers, sold to entities you would never consent to, or even used by authorities to monitor stockpiling activities. It paints a detailed picture of your household's preparedness level, making you a potential target. The discount offered by a loyalty card is the bait in a trap. You're trading a few cents off a can of soup for a permanent record of your habits and vulnerabilities. In the grand scheme of things, the true price of that loyalty is your privacy, and it's a price that may be far too high to pay.